This is the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network, your number one source of information, education, and entertainment. For honest, responsible, and dependable information, we stand supreme. To stay focused, inspired, and relaxed, choose green. Welcome to the Ifa Orisha Community Discussion Show, and introducing your host, Baba Iwaliwa Daniel John. Baba, you had to put on your mic. We're not hearing you.
All right, sorry about that. Greetings. Welcome. I say Abora Boye, Aboshishi. I'll start with a chant from Odu Ejiokbe. They say, Oriko da amiri, Orisha ma jeno so ashenu. Adi fafu kankan le niru wo iromale. Nigbati wo nido to de oru. O wa shi ode aye. Ori loko ko da orumila shi oke igete. Ori ko da amiri. Orisha ma jeno so. Ori lo da su. Sure they get there. I'll continue in English and restart. Ori bless me abundantly. Ori do not let me labor in vain. Divination for 401 Orisha, when they were to descend from heaven to the world. Our first created Orimila in Igeti Hills. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori created Oshun in Igede tongue. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori created Watala in Ifa tongue. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori created the Ami Aje in Uta tongue. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori Loda Shango in Koso tongue. You created Shango in Koso tongue. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori created Oya in Ira tongue. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori created Ogun in Ire tongue. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori created Eshu in Ketu tongue. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori created Orisha Oko in Ira Wakba. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ori created Egun in Oche tongue. Ori bless me abundantly. Orisha do not let me labor in vain. Ashe.
Ashe.
Today we discuss spirituality versus religion in Ifa. Not to say in terms of conflict, but in terms of understanding the differences that, a lot of people, they get confused. One thing they initiate in Ifa, they only look at the religious aspect, but don't really connect with the spiritual connection or the spiritual influence that they are really connected to. So most time, all the practice is based on the religious scenarios and not the spiritual. That's why it's important that people understand certain things in terms of the spiritual aspect, which is really allowing Ifa to really bring an impact into their life. I think sometime we did Ifa is not a religion, and we just look at certain aspects outside of the religious aspect. But as all tradition, you do have a religion forming out of a tradition. So you will see some people practicing Hinduism. In Hinduism, it have the deity which they call Kali, Mata. And from the worship of Kali, you see a whole separate religion would be built around Kali. They say they have Kali Puja. The Pundit is not called a Pundit, but he is called, I think, Kali Mata or something. But out of the Hindu religion, a deity would be picked out and a certain religion would be established. Just as how you'll have in Oshogbo Oshun festival with the Oshun priesthood, Ile Ife with the Ifa practice. You have in Oyo, certain part of Oyo and Kuso, where you have the Shango practice. So we, in the, like I said, the diaspora, we really does be practicing the spiritual aspect or the spiritual elements of these entities. So sometimes when you look at spiritual Baptists, in their practice, you'll find they'll say they walk in the Indian road, they'll walk the African road, they walk the Chinese road, but they are not devotees of those spirits, but the spirit connects with them through either ancestral lineage or their spirit, going in terms of the spiritual connections through their godfathers or godmothers. And they'll have these different connections with these entities. So even in Ifa, when we say Ifa Orisha community, not everybody is to be a priest in Ifa or a priestess. There are those who are to be devotees. But where we look at everybody is more emphasizing on where you term the religious aspect. We do identify our, like I say, us as lecturers or wise men. We do identify those in terms of our craftsmen, those of our ladies who into different aspects. How do we elevate them in the tradition and still connect with the religious practice is where the community come together to worship. But outside of that worship, how do we still promote Ifa, promote the whole ideologies of Ifa, the principles, Ika to report, which speaks of certain behaviors expected of people? Though we use it for initiate, they say, oh, when you have initiate yourself over and over. Don't climb a tree where Tata rope. So when not only Babalaos and Ifa initiators want to climb a tree, is everybody will climb a tree. So it's saying, don't make a temple something that is not solid, not strong. You want to rise, you have to make sure that what you're rising on has some, strength, virility. Don't say a madman and say you'll take away the blade from him. I mean, we must be observant to danger before our eyes and know how we approach to these dangers and how to preserve ourselves. If I says, don't see a big hole and say you could jump over. If I said, don't take certain chances in life that may not be of benefit to us. So, Ika Torpon is not just speaking as Ifa devotees, but people of the world, because when we look at the words of Ifa, it's for the people of the world. There are those principles that are for the priests and priestess. I say, the priest practice, he learn akosher, he learn how to do itelodu, he know how to use opele, he learn how to do divination. This is the role of a priest. So one who wants to be a priest, you look forward to practicing these things, but all the other guidelines of Ifa is for everybody, the society, the community. So when a lot of time, we go teach certain principles of Ifa that will be in terms of the line of the priesthood, but what about the basic things that the devotee should be aware of? Everybody, well, every 5 days I have to feed Ifa. Okay, yes, that is a principle, but do you understand the right way to do Oshe Ifa? Because if you understand Oshe Ifa, you should be always privileged to find a temple on the 16th day, because now you want, that Oshe is leading you to a point. The 16th day would be the culmination of your 5-day worship for the fortnight. So well, Ifa says that this is the message for the community. You give your Ifa the ebo that is prescribed, or what they will say, well, the basic ebo. They will say, give them oti, give them shea butter, give them popcorn. You get the basic, but you know what to expect from Ifa for the fortnight, for the next 60 days. Because when you pray, you just asking Ifa for blessing, Ifa bless me this, Ifa bless me that. But take it, what you're asking for, Ifa say this should not be accepted. So in terms of the basic principles for devotees, I think in public forums, we need to more express what is expected of devotees in terms of how they could grow and really expand themselves in making Ifa a way of life.
Yeah, well, Baba, I think education on the whole is something that we need to emphasize for devotees and as well as for the general public, because many people have misconceptions about what this practice is. And it is our responsibility to try to provide the correct information for people so that they do not continue to have misconceptions about what we do, what we practice, and how we live.
Yeah. And we don't see it. Now, you know, moving around and interacting with people, a lot of people say, oh, all Orisha people go on Ifa now. I say, not really. They might have initiated, but they have not made Ifa their way of life. So what they are doing, they are collaborating, or let's say combining their Orisha practice with Ifa. And most time is more, when I see it, most time is just more Ifa discussions, or if I would say, yes, you'll hear somebody say Ariki, or in Mila repeat because you'll the marry, and then he gone, oh, go on anyway, he done, that's Ifa for he. So he think he's a Ifa Orisha practitioner because he can recite an Oriki. Recently I heard one, he had beautiful tone. I said, I like how he sang that song. Eduo, niawa, edu. So, you know, he really brought it out with that. When he moved me, and I'm very hard to be moved. And so after I think, so I just go and say, who's Edu? He watch me. He don't know. So I tell him, Edu is Orimila. That is a nickname for Orimila.
That's one of his nicknames.
Yeah, one of his nickname. He who bottom is black, just as the black as the Iken. He who is black in his nakedness, Edu. I said that's why sometimes you ever hear anybody call a white girl Dudu. Dudu is always referred to a black girl. Dudu, how you going, dudes? Because subconsciously we know, we understand that.
Yeah, but it connotes black, but it also connotes sweet also.
Sweet, well,
yeah.
But I don't want to go that way. But
no, I just telling you.
We never put it, you never see people really put that to a fair skin girl or Indian. You always say, when you say a darkie, oh, Dudu, yes, dudes. Yeah, Dudu, or share Dudu, black soap, Iyami Dudu. So even in yes, he will learn the song and the Orikis and they have it, but they're not connected because that is really what worshiping Ifa Orisha is. When you send the vibration in song, Oriki, prayers, or whatever, is that vibration that they receive.
Excuse me.
But now you have to basically know what you are sending from inside here. Not just a mind thing because you retain a song and you know the song and you practice to bring it well, is what coming out from here. So when there's any vibration or the yes, Orimila would already done come and bless you. And this is what we have to bring people to start to reassess. It's not taking away nothing from nobody. But this is why we always emphasize education is important, because you could have it nice, but it will be ineffective.
No, well then, if you're raising issues of education, then you're talking about issues of Baba Ifa.
No, well, this is why I'm a Baba Ifa. I just say I'm not a Babalawo. I try to propagate the wisdom and the teachings of Ifa, to be a little child, to be an elder. A Babalawo, his role is for the temple. That is why they train and they practice under a priest or the Olowo, because their intention is that I want to take his role when he passes on. And this is what people understand. Yes, you can learn Ifa, but people, where do you want to go? Do you want to go towards elevating into the priesthood, or do you want to elevate your life to become Enya? Because it could be a good example. Iwa Pele, Iwa Were, Omo Luabi. Omo Luabi. It's not title for kingship, but it's a title to be respected and looked at somebody who is important to society. So when one is a Olowo, Olowo is one esteemed. Olowos also would be one who have initiated you. But their title of Ojubona, is that a religious title?
Now, of recent, right, I was doing some research and I came over some information that sort of had me a little bit rattled, right? Because it would seem that in different parts or different districts of Nigeria, the titles are used very different. All right. I could remember being taught by a very young diviner. I don't want to say Babalawo because I might even be misconstruing the title that the person actually has.
Right.
But I used to spend a good bit of time communicating with this diviner, and he explained to me how the titles are used in Oshogbo, where he was from. Right? And then recently, I came across a document and I was having discussions with someone who received their initiation in Odiremo. And they were giving me information and explaining to me the different rules and titles. All right? And two of the lowest rules that they gave me was Araba and Ojugbona. And below that, they say were just the regular members of the temple or shrine. Right? So, even in terms of the titles that are given the persons holding particular ranks, there is no uniformity as far as from district or tongue to tongue in Nigeria. All right. Here, for example, depending on the lineage you're from, most of the people in Trinidad seem to think that Araba is one of the highest titles. Right? And I was told differently from different sources. Right? I was even told by one that it is an honorary title that is bestowed on persons. All right? I guess in some districts it's not like that.
Yeah.
But in the particular district where the person who shared that with me was from, he told me it is a prestigious title, but it is an honorary title that is given to someone. Right? In terms of the Olowo, right? That is one of the highest titles. Right? And a person who teaches Ifa holds that title. Right? So as far as that particular village and tongue is concerned, that is the highest title. And anyone who is exposed and taught the details of Ifa teaching by a person, that person becomes their Olowo. All right? So I just wanted to plug that in.
Right. But the Ojubona, a lot of people say Ojubona is supposed to be third in rank under the Araba. Because in terms of when we do some Oriki from, I think Mojuba Olowo, Mojuba Araba, Mojuba Ojubona.
All right, let me read straight off of the document. That way you would have an idea what it is I was speaking about. The senior Babalawo in an Ifa family is called Olowo. The assistant to the Olowo is called Aro,
Arrow.
and the assistant to the Aro is called Araba.
Mm.
The Araba may head a smaller family within the larger family, and the assistant to the Araba is the Ojubona. The female positions within an Ifa family is called Asaripawo,
Mm.
Asawo, Aworo, and Apetebi. The male Babalao, who are members of the Ifa family who do not hold a senior position, are considered to be assistants to the Ojugbona.
Mm.
Any person who teaches Ifa to a student is the Olowo of that student. All right, and of course it reads, let me read this part because I think this is the key part to everything. There is a wide range of regional variations in this structure.
Mm.
So what I just read would hold true for Odirimo.
All right. All right. So, and this, because most time everybody see the person assisting the Babalawo in initiation is your Ojubona. All right. Because that was taught to me at some point in time. Well, look further. Ojubona also means one who points one to Ifa. So everybody, if everybody want to initiate somebody, but may not even, well, like I said, they want to initiate into Ifa, and there are those who want to initiate people. But sometimes yourself. So you now come to become that person Ojubona. Now, but in a context where, as a devotee that understands Ifa well and encourages somebody to join Ifa, they will basically also could be considered Ojubona. I can't remember which one I did talk about. I'll get the thing. But it's saying when somebody prays the Orikis and they give praise to your Ojubona, you will still be blessed. Yes, sir. So yes, I want to, all right, better go by this Baba Tinishi because because some people want more than what the Baba would offer. It has some people, they want to be always in a big crowd with, drums and da. It has Baba Ifa doing that. And then you have Baba Ifa, like myself, who rather talk out a session. From the press start to the press done, I will speak. Now and then I choke in a song because I tell people I'm not an entertainer. So people who want that kind of practice, they'll say, no, I don't want Baba Iwalewa to initiate me. I don't want to, because I want to hear drums. I want to see manifestation of spirit. So there are those who, big crowd, yard full, road full. So knowing what it is that the devotee or the person interested to want to, you can tell them, okay, I think this is a Baba that you should go and initiate into, and I will sit with him and I'll assess. So he become your Olowo, and I'll just be your Ojubona. You can always still come to me to ask questions. All right? And this way we are talking about numbers, because a lot of people taking that, initiating people to make numbers, but in making numbers, are you really educating them that the numbers make sense? Right? Because I just say, the more the trainees or the more the young ones know of Ifa, is easier and less work for the Baba Ifa, the Araba, the Olowo, whatever title you hold, it will be less work, because we have to come out of this old way that it is the leader alone. Like you plant flag, everybody saying right there, the hole to dig, the leader to say dig the hole. Flame the hole, the leader say flame the hole. Wash the bamboo, the leader come to say wash the bamboo. He had to fix the water for you to wash the bamboo. People say, Well, them days I was shepherd. Shepherd Mellow, you have to wait for leader. I say, for what? When I wait, I still had to do it. So I would done mix the water, pick the leaf, put the leaf in the water, take it, go and wash the bamboo, have it line up there. When he come here, he smile the pulley bed, the other bed like mine, the pulley bed. Okay, let me start. So a lot of people still have that old way that we cannot, if we know the way, because if I was doing something, people who ain't running church, they say, nah, he ain't know what he doing. That prayer wasn't done good. You ain't see he ain't do this. You ain't see he ain't sing that.
But then Baba, let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Because going back to the topic, right? The topic is about spirituality
Versus religion.
Right? But in the case of religion, wouldn't we have all the structural apparatus in place for such things?
Well, when I say there is a structural apparatus, but is it or is it standardized? That comes the question. So
no,
just
for religion it is. Maybe for spirituality it's not.
No, well, in spirituality, it is based on the spiritual laws.
That is not uniform though.
No, well, the spiritual law. First, he must give praise to Olodumare. It's 5 elements. I think if you read Fakayode, Ifa Press, I think he also has that same structure. I think he has 6, but 5 basic structure. We first must give praise to Olodumare. However, what we have to recognize the Creator. Secondly, we do the consecration. What they say was surveying. When you survey, because you want to say, well, you want to make this space here holy for the Spirit of God to descend, because we now give respect and veneration to Him, to ask Him to send the Spirit to bless us. After we have consecrated the place, then we do the libation. So we do libation, give praise and salutation, refreshment to the ancestors, the Orishas, the deity, whichever. We pour libation. After libation, the invocation. Who are we here to worship? Who do we want in this space that we just consecrated? And which of the Orishas that we have just poured libation to is the one we want in this space? So we invoke the Orisha to So when they come, why did you call us? We give our petition. We want blessings. We want healing. We want alignment. We want to be blessed with your ashade that we could do what we have to do. In life, nothing is free. So this is our offering. This is our ebo. This is our table of thanks. This is our gift offering. So the offering that is presented, and then you close off with a reading. Not like the basic spiritual, no. The religion would have a structure that surrounds that. You understand? So even personal life, that when first you get up in the morning, give praise to God, and you thank you, Ori, for this day. Lord Father, you put your petition. You give your flowers, your water, whatever is your offering for the blessings you ask for. Remember, religion is really based around a concept of a spirituality of the spirits. The spirit is not based around the religion. Yes, sir?
So then are you saying that spirituality is in direct reference to tradition?
Give me that again.
Are you saying that spirituality is in direct reference to tradition?
Yeah. Ori say it will come to earth. I say it will come at Ori. No say they'll come at Ori. Mouth say they'll come at Ori. Traditionally, if we go to the creation story of Obatala, Ogun coming, Obatala coming, you say, well, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you eat your food. That's the spiritual story that, or the tradition that created, because they say from since then, we brush our teeth in the morning, we wash our face, and we eat breakfast as a ritual now. But that was the tradition of Ogun coming, Obatala coming, Orimila coming, and set a standard, the tradition. So all religion is really based on the tradition because the stories of your religion supposed to be the spiritual experiences that the people would have experienced. That's why we say Shango Obakuso, Shango the king is not dead. Because of what had happened. And that transcend to come now. So now we Kabe see Shango Obakuso in our religion.
So all right, Baba.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to read the tenets of Ifa. And I want you to tell
the
me.
16.
No, not the 16.
Right? All right.
I'm going to read some of the tenets of Ifa Orisha.
Mm.
And you're going to tell me if these are religious tenets, spiritual tenets, or even traditional tenets.
All right.
All right. I know that there is one God called Olodumare who created and controls the universe. I know that there are forces of nature to deal with the affairs of man and that powers the universe. I know that ancestral spirits must be remembered, honored, and consulted by the living. I know that in reincarnation we are reborn through our bloodline or lineage. I know that divination is the roadmap. I know the use of offering and blood sacrifices are for atonement and elevation of our prayers to Orisha and Egun. I believe in magic, that is the transformation of prayer and offerings to action. I know the magical and medicinal use of herbs. I know that man can commune with Olodumare through trance possession. I know that ritual song and dance is mandatory in the worship of Olodumare. So these tenets, Baba, would you describe them as tradition, spirituality, or religion?
Well, I could break down separate some. All right. The first one, recognizing Olodumare, is a tradition that has the enshrined in the religion. Because from the first instance, before we even started to worship as a religion, we recognized there was a supreme being. There was something that gave us the existence. So that basically would be part of our tradition. And now we bring that part into a religious aspect where it comes into now in terms of worship. Our ancestors would that be a tradition because we are here because of them. Now, the religion can be outside of that because most people, even if they recognize the ancestors, they're in another religion to the ancestors. So I say, well, this is the way that my fathers went, and we have to go that way. But originally, it was that way. When they call your name, when they call the name of your father's father, you are representative of them. So if your father was a blacksmith, you would be a blacksmith because you're honoring and you're keeping the family's name, the tradition. Now we have moved from that aspect and we just have a religious connection with our ancestors. So we might just put our ancestor altar and do venerations, and most time because they say, oh, your ancestors need to be appeased and we connect with ancestors. But how many of us really follow the path and say, well, yes, I am walking the way of my ancestors? So it can separate, but people are trying to identify which one of the path I'm following because the same principle could go both ways. Ifa Yable, that is what you brought it from?
No. This I couldn't reveal the source of the information.
All right, yeah.
But
But
I would call the other one. The other one is I know that there are forces of nature
Mm,
to deal with the affairs of man
mm.
and that powers the universe.
So long before religion was established, we were already connected with certain forces of nature. Every tradition, every culture would have had some connections. The Chinese would have talk about the dragon, they'll talk about the wolf, the fox, the pig, the dog. We would speak about the different Orishas in terms of the spirit of the water, spirit of the mountain, Jakuta, Shango, Ogun, in their environment, their sacred environment. Right? So that
Therefore,
now,
this particular thing that deals with the forces of nature, that deal with the affairs of man, and that governs things concerning the universe, you would say that's traditional, spiritual, and religious.
well, the expressing how they work with us would be where the religion will come in. Because the forces of nature, Oshun who washes us inside out, washing us inside, bathing outside, drinking of water to wash us inside. So the forces of nature that works for us, Baba
Yeah, but
outside.
then, now you saying the forces are nature, right? So that would be spirituality. But if you're going to tradition, then you could use the name Oshun.
Well, the name,
because
well,
it is associated to the tradition.
The tradition. But remember now, how we relate to the energies, how we relate to the spiritual energies that surround us. So the spiritual principles that governs us, basically would be our tradition.
No,
When we pass structure, we become religious.
I'm not disagreeing with you. But I'm saying once you start saying Oshun or Yumunja or Shango or Obatala,
that tradition.
Then you're going straight into tradition.
Tradition,
If
that
you're dealing with spirituality, then spirituality will be the raw essence of the thing. We're referring to them as the forces of nature.
Right. So
not having a personification.
A personification.
But anytime you go into personification, then now you're making that pure tradition. Whether it is in the form of mythology, pataki, reciting histories that are in reference to particular elevated ancestors or orishas, then that fits directly into tradition. Not necessarily spirituality.
No spirituality.
It would have a place in spirituality, but it has to be identified distinctly from spirituality.
But
religion, on the other hand, is a combination of both. The tradition and the spirituality.
Right. But if we operate from our school of thought, we are spirit beings having an earthly experience. Right? So in terms of all our action really is spiritual. Either positive or negative spiritual energy.
Baba, there's a question for you.
Yeah. Which is first in terms of religion or spirituality? Because
there's three things we mentioned.
Yeah. Well, tradition would be first.
You said religion versus spirituality.
But you said tradition would be
is
first.
also a part of it.
Yes.
So which one would you say is first of the three?
All right. Tradition would be first. Tradition. When I say tradition,
but I don't agree with you, Baba. Because I don't think you could put tradition in front of spirituality.
No. When we're using spirituality in terms of spiritual worship, but spirituality in terms of was never identified. It was the essence, the existence, the etheric movement of all things was just there. You understand? Laws that came in into being. So when Ogun came first with his stick and he brought his people and they were eating stick, they wouldn't term it as a spirituality, but they were spirit beings, spirit entities coming to create and how they could exist on earth. They could not eat the stick too long, it wasn't satisfying to them. They went back. Obatala came with the element of water. When he could not sustain himself and his people with water alone. When Baba Remila came down, now, he did divination before he left. He said, walk with this, that plant, and so things. And when he came, he met the water and the stick that Baba Oguna Nobatala had left. And he began to cook. When I say tete, the universal or the eternal plant, what we call wild baji. So
Okay,
this was the primordial
Baba,
plant.
apparently we have a viewer,
Huh?
someone familiar both to you and me that does not
Yeah.
agree. So we will ask the viewer
Yeah.
to type in the comment section
Yeah.
what his views are.
No, remember I just always say, if I'm wrong, it's better one correct me so that I know could further be advanced, because this is what the discussion is about. Discussion, not that I
Yeah,
saying this
I
is
know,
it.
I know. No, well, I mean, you
Right?
and I have different views.
Yeah.
Because you say tradition first,
Mm.
but I'm saying there is a play between tradition
Tradition and
and
spirituality.
spirituality.
Mm.
What is, in essence, the truth is the spiritual existence and experience that exists in all cultures.
No.
But through tradition, through language, and through cultural understanding and identification, they will be described by having different personifications and characteristics, right? When it comes to religion, religion is more or less a concrete type of a description.
Well, remember
Right?
religion, there was never religion. Religion was later formulated. Because remember
Well,
now, we would identify as a thing, as a religion. When
all right. Okay.
one goes to
Go
do
ahead.
a
I
ebo,
agree. I agree with that. Go ahead.
yeah. When one goes to a ebo, to do a ebo, I have to think this. They go and they do the ebo. Religion will come and say, no, you have to get a priest and a diviner and somebody that's supposed to think. Because long time, our grannies and them was great diviners, because they don't watch and they read and tell you what's going on with you. Give you something to do and they don't do it.
Yeah, but you're making that song as if my granny and them didn't have structure, and I would disagree with you on that too.
No, they had structure, because remember now, the structure would be based on the now here where I say in terms of tradition, the way we used to do things. Tradition, I mean that I'm learning Nigeria, I'm doing things, okay, just as how I'm edifying, researching, questioning, and debating. I could be wrong, allow somebody to correct me and go down. I'm following the way of my great uncle Primus.
All right.
So
Baba,
in terms of
yeah,
politics,
what I want to do, right?
yeah.
Now, the person who commented is a Baba also.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite Baba onto the live.
No problem.
All right. So just give me a minute.
All right.
But go ahead in the meanwhile.
All right. Because remember I said, Larry, how we could watch it in the view of I am a spiritual being having a earthly experience. So what it is that I'm doing that is not spiritual. You understand?
Baba,
Now, when they base it on spirituality as if it's
you're going
Orisha
into
spiritual,
you're going into some tough terrain there.
well,
Because all right,
discussions. I'm
tradition
drinking water to it, so that was a little.
All right, tradition have rules and laws.
No, well, communal rules.
Spirituality have rules and laws.
Now, when they're referring to spirituality, which one are they referring to? The spiritual cosmic force in nature, or is it in terms of the spirituality of a certain practice? Because that's where we have to look at it too. Right? Because when we use the term spirituality, it's both things. Am I just in terms of referring to my spiritual practice in Ifa Orisha, or am I referring it as basically as a spirit being that is encased in this mortal flesh? Because I'm an immortal being encased in a mortal flesh that is here to have an experience. We say heaven is our home, earth is a marketplace. We only come here for a while to return home. So in case in this mortal flesh is an immortal being who could have lived centuries before, or could be here for his first incarnation to experience, to see how we can perfect the earth. Obatala came and he tried. Shango came, he tried. Orinmila came, he tried. So they all came and tried to bring the world to a perfection. And it is a continuous state because that's supposed to be the universal law. I don't know if to say it's spiritual, carnal, but it is the existence law that we are here to make the world a better place than how we met it. So that was it. When we look at spirituality, we have to find what is our term of reference to spirituality. Is it the spiritual thing that surrounds Ifa Orisha, or is it based on the principles of nature? The world has tilted 0.1 degree. The influence of the earth is operating at the 5th dimension, as other teachers may teach. We are being influenced by the energies of the universe, the planetary, however you put it. And what is happening now would be different to what would have been experienced at a different period of time. Now, is it?
Baba, now you're making it sound as though because the experiences are time encapsulated, that the spiritual functions would change over time. But I don't agree with that.
Well,
despite whatever time you in, spirit would manifest, spirit would direct, and spirit would always play its role in trying to guide man in a particular direction that the spirit wants man to go.
All right.
So time is not really now. If you want to argue that it's about the way a man would function based on where in the world you are, what language you speak, how you appreciate things artistically, how you express things aesthetically, whether it's through dance, or through music, or through art, these are the different factors that from place to place and from one time to another time may appear to be different. But generally, it is the same.
Now that's in. Now you take it from a traditional perspective, different tradition expressing the changes in time, season, and what and what. But where are we really in terms of as spirit beings? Let me put that way. As a spirit being, where am I? Am I at the level of consciousness that I can say, well, I'm in tune with where or what is my existence and purpose? Because when we go to Ifa will tell you what was the purpose of this Ori.
No, well, Baba,
and not the person.
Baba, when I was reading the Tenants, I also said that I know that divination is the roadmap. You remember me reading that?
Yeah.
Right. So the role of divination is to position a devotee so that they could understand what their role is. All right, listen. Baba, we have a next guest with us. Who is eager to deal with this issue right here. Someone to which we are familiar and to which the community is very familiar also. So I'm going to invite Baba Awatunde on the stream, and he's going to join the discussion with us.
All right.
Baba Awatunde,
Aboru aboye.
Agbatu Baba.
Oromela ilẹ̀ Ifa olóko asọ̀rọ̀ dayọ̀.
Yeah, Baba. So we see you was agreeing and disagreeing. So let's hear what your views are, because we're trying to link three totally distinct things: religion, tradition, and spirituality. We know they overlap each other, but they are all distinct. Because we can't call
Exactly.
tradition spirituality and we can't call
No.
spirituality religion. But we could identify the little areas that they all share in common.
Yeah.
Barely. One of I must say that I'm happy to be on this wonderful program.
I do pay
May the blessings of our ancestors continue to be with us. May we continue moving forward and upward. And we all understand the importance of education, information, and inspiration. And what you all are doing is inspiring people, educating. So we know that for the next 100 years, YouTube or wherever would not be able to take this information off. So, it's just like this, as the Christians will talk about the Dead Sea Scroll, this information will always be out there for our great-grandchildren to view. With regards to religion, one of the funny things about religious laws that majority of this wonderful world has been evading is the fact that religion did not come from the Most High. It didn't come from Olodumare or who want to say Tetragrammaton. It didn't come from that particular energy.
Oh man.
Understand religion as being an order based on geographical location, based on the things that is readily available and the vibrations that came from the things that are readily available. So let's face it, in Japan, China, these areas, you will find, they will talk about Buddha, they will talk about, because of their location.
All right,
spirituality.
Baba, I feel it has something you want to say more than you're saying, but could we also say that religion is politicized and targeted
of
and
course
directed
it is.
and manipulated?
Of course it is.
Because
of course it is.
Of the things we discussing, religion, of course, would be the least of the three.
The least of the three?
Yeah, in rank.
The least.
And also
it is the least.
In age.
Exactly. It is a control mechanism.
Now, if we go to ancient scene, they say divine intelligence created man, and men made gods.
Right.
So, the divine intelligence, the spiritual source, made man, who created what you say traditions, and then we made gods. So their religion fit in after.
Yeah.
I think it's the last of the three. The
most it is the last
development of the tree, the most manipulated of the
tree. It is.
All right.
It takes you away from your true self, your true essence of existence.
So let's see where this next tenet places religion. The next tenet is, I know that ancestral spirits must be remembered, honored, and consulted by the living.
No. Remember now, we are our ancestors. No, we have to remember too, sometimes some of these tenets was based on a religious ideology.
Baba, this is our religious tenet.
Yeah, no.
Don't play it. Don't play it.
Right, what's saying? We have to, now remember now, we have been controlled by religions. Right? From our whole, especially as in the diaspora, and if we go even in the homeland, a lot of problem because religion has come and basically tampered with certain things of the source. Now, we have to be sure when we promote our religion, we have to be sure that our religion is not creating the same effect as other religion has created on us. If I'm an immortal being, encased in a mortal flesh, mortal body, how I as a spiritual being here for earth experience supposed to elevate in a collective? So we have to be able now to have that understanding that when we gather in religious gatherings, we're supposed to be elevated, that become that divine being, the Enya that we are supposed to elevate. Our religion is supposed to create the Omoluabi, that intelligent, wide, good character, all in natures supposed to emanate from our
But
religious practices.
Baba, I want to interrupt you.
Right?
Now, as much as I agree with all the nice
Now
songs,
come back to the ancestors, eh?
no, yeah, I hope so. As
Yeah.
much as I agree with all the nice songs and things that you say, keep in mind, for us, people who follow Isheshe, who follow African tradition, we deal with religion because we are in the diasporic environment where religion plays a major role as a vehicle for transporting and for moving our concepts on par with the other religions in our
Yeah.
society.
Exactly.
But outside of
Totally
that,
agree.
we have no use for
Yeah.
religion
Yeah.
because we have a
Absolutely none.
tradition. We have a tradition
Exactly.
that is comprehensive.
Right. But
Right?
remember
So
what?
Exactly.
keeping
The
that in mind
social,
now, Baba, go ahead with
right. Now
tradition.
remember, we deal with
Ancestors.
the social aspect of it. In society, we don't have the cultures we used to have. We don't have the cultural environment.
All right. Just now,
Yeah.
Ejewa,
Eh,
just one little situation here that we have to be cognizant of. We understand that culture, out of culture came governance, out of culture came the way you eat, your mores, everything came from culture and where you are located. We will never remember. We need to remember firstly that our tradition is an oral tradition,
So,
right? And the importance, one of the most important things in our tradition is dreams, right? Plenty of the Odus, the essays of the Odus did not happen on this earth. It happened in, let us say, that dream world. It happened before we were in this physical form of existence. So in order for us to reconnect as physical beings or having this physical experience, in order for us to connect, we have to go back through that channel, which is that channel that is filled with all the happiness, peace, prosperity, the problems, everything is in that channel. And that is what Odu tries to say. So
Baba,
if we are physical, yeah.
so my question is now, because we whatever we discuss, we still tying it in
yeah,
with the
we
fact
go
that
reach
the
it.
ancestors have to be remembered, honored, and consulted
All right.
by the living. Now, one of the
Yes.
ways that our ancestors communicate with us is through dreams and visions,
Yes. Yes.
or what in
Yeah.
Yoruba is referred to as Allah.
Yes.
All right. Now, to a great extent, there are many who do not consider dreams to be significant in the tradition. Because sometimes you go to an elder and you tell them, listen, I had this dream, whatever, so. And they say, well, I don't know, I can't really help you with that, because I don't really know nothing about dreams.
All right. But
Right?
yeah,
Now, I can remember growing up, and I would go to
Yeah.
my mother and say, Ma, I dreamed this or I dreamed that. So she would tell me,
Of
it means
course.
this. And one of the things she also told me is when you have your dreams, you mustn't go and tell nobody.
Exactly. Or be careful who you're saying your dreams to.
Right. So I
Yeah.
fast now, I say, Ma, why you gonna tell me something like that? And I just come and tell you, she say, well, I is your mother, I go explain to you what is going on. But she
Yeah.
say, if you go and you tell these to people who don't wish you well and whatever, she said the good angel, this is what she tell me. She said the good angel that has come and bring the messages to you, if you keep telling it to other people, they won't stop coming.
Exactly.
That is
And
what
she
she
was
told me.
not, but she was correct. She was not just correct. That's profound. Whenever we envision we need to remember firstly that we came from somewhere. A glass of water that is in front of you came from a place where plenty water is. Also, there's water in the universe. So that water came from somewhere that plenty exists. It is the same thing with clouds. It's the same thing with the human, with us. We came from a place of plenty, not in this physical state, but in the spiritual realm. So now everything that we need, we already possess. And that is the spiritual aspect that has been taken away from us. So any leader, any priest, any babalawo who says dreams are not important, or your ancestors, you can deal with the ancestors, but you need to know who is the good ones and who is the bad ones. Ancestors are ancestors, because the lion will kill the leopard to feed her young ones. To the leopard, the lion is bad, but to the lion children, my mother feeding me. So there's nothing as negative ancestors. They all have their purpose. They all came from somewhere. And knowing that we came from somewhere and we are now experiencing Olodumari's tapestry upon this earth, it coined the term, we came to mend the broken calabash. And the only way we can mend the broken calabash is if we understand the fundamentals of our tradition. And one of the main thing of our tradition is that even if the Babalawo tells you something and it does not sound correct, your Ori is right. Your Ori is directly connected to that spiritual realm that tells you what is wrong and what is right. What we go to priest and what we experience now in our tradition, it is vastly different to what has been happening before. We are seeing where people are more interested in the mighty dollar. We know that, right? Everything is naira, right? We understand that. But what we need to understand is that we are very strong people. We are very resilient people. And being resilient beings upon this physical earth located in Trinidad, this is where we at. Our geographic location is Trinidad. This is where we are at this juncture. What we need to do is fortify and strengthen our spiritual vibrations right here. Instead of saying this ain't good or that ain't good or this ain't making no sense or that ain't making no sense. No, there are things that makes absolutely no sense. But understanding where we at now in our tradition, the only answer to our forward movement is to truly reconnect back to our visions, because that was taken away from us. And as your mother said, and I said it was profound what she said, because when you go to the Catholic Church long ago, they will tell you your dream is the devil playing tricks on you. Curse them. If you dream your great grandmother, curse she. Tell she neighbor rotten. Right? Tell she ain't good. So now the good angel who your mother spoke about is your ancestors. So now when you send the information to X, Y, and Z, it becomes weaker. So when I say to blood, or I say to somebody who I could trust, the information becomes part of your physical reality. It is either the neighbor sick and you get a message for the neighbor. That's how Papa Niza, let's go back to, let's talk about Papa Niza for a second here. Papa Niza's uncle was very, very sick. He was also a herbalist. And Papa Niza's uncle told him to go and check somebody down the road. He will get the correct bush. He went to the gentleman down the road. The gentleman said, no, I have no time with that. He went to somebody else. The person said, no, I have no time with that. Until on Papa Niza's way, Mr. Ebenezer Elliott, on his way back home, a ringlet manifested on him for the very first time and started picking different bush, carried it home, and his uncle was saved. His uncle got better. Now, who taught him that? That is digging deep into your infinite wisdom, because we are infinite beings having a physical experience. We are not just here to experience God's tapestry, Olodumari's plants and herbs. We are here to understand it. And the more we understand it, is the more we will be in a better position when we leave. The information that we leave will assist with whoever is upon our way. And it's through that our name not will just live on, but we will return to this Aye sometime.
Which bring me to the next tenet. The tenet reads, I know that in reincarnation we are reborn through our bloodline or lineage.
And,
Benny.
and this is why we are who we are. Now,
Benny.
my mantra, I am that I am. I just have people say that, I am that I am, right? Who is it that you are? You could only know who you are by you have to go back to understand your ancestry and who you could be reincarnated from. Whose blood is in your blood?
Exactly.
Because we are even if you go to Ifa says you are born back into your family bloodline.
Yes.
So you're not born in somebody else's bloodline, but you're born in a different link to the same bloodline that you belong to. So we have to continue in our cycles until there's one or two, or there's one in the family that can bring the whole family into elevation out of this, that we live as the spirit being, having this experience as a God. I created
so
myself.
Religion has nothing to do with that. Yeah. Religion has nothing to do with that. Religion is the mechanism that the Europeans install to keep us enslaved. It is called perpetual slavery. That is perpetual. As long as you are doing something religiously, ask any Christian what they learned from the Bible when they were small. Now it's the same thing over and over. And any tradition, if our tradition is heading in that direction, then we doom. Because why? If Ejogbe, Ejoko, Iwodimeji, whichever Odu is your life Odu, right? You are part of that Odu. You are now a verse. You are now a verse of that Odu. You see where I'm coming from? Your experiences, the things that you have done, the people who you have saved, the people who you educate, the time when you did initiation, even in the Christian philosophy, they will talk about when Jesus went and get baptized. Yeah. Well, then we need to talk about the times when we experience positive vibrations in our tradition. And that in itself becomes one of the verses of your life, Odu.
And if you go back to Ifa is a continuous cycle. It's a circle.
Exactly.
So when I live now, according to my Odu, I am living over the existence that I lived in another incarnation, manifesting the Odu. So some people may try to follow the Odu, and some people just live it and you realize, well, wait now, I'm walking according to my Odu.
Well,
exactly.
No, in terms of that,
totally
that's an interesting thing. But I want to talk about this a little bit more. Now, reincarnation is not a concept that is exclusive to our tradition. However, the way that we understand it is different to the way the other traditions understand it.
That's what I say. Do we express words to our understanding, or are we always trying to define it as how other people may see it?
No.
No, that's it. I just now clarify it there.
No, I clarify it because if you're talking about spirituality, it would not be in direct reference to our tradition exclusively. Right? Spirituality is something that all races of people, all traditions, all cultures, all groups experience. They express it differently. They interpret it differently. And as a result of which it manifests through them in a different way.
Yeah.
With us, when we talk about Atunwa, we're talking about us being born into our own lineage. Now, let me explain some of the things that I understand by this. If you were to be born into your own lineage, it would mean you would have a first-hand opportunity to see if you have failed or if you have succeeded. Because if you're born in your own lineage 7 generations from now, and everybody in that generation is a failure, you know you messed up.
Yeah, you're messed up somewhere.
Yeah.
You feel.
Yeah. So for people who being born into families and they think it's by accident, and why I born and I different from everybody and all of that, yeah, you're different. Because just as you mentioned, you're coming with the Odu that you had in the last incarnation too. as a part of your living experience.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that you would manifest while you're here is part of that, and is part of what you come back here to do for a
Exactly.
second or third or fourth or fifth or
Well
sixth
said.
or even seventh time.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
we talk about Atunwa, we ain't just talking about just being reborn for being reborn. We talk about being reborn in your own lineage
My own lineage.
to see where you have failed, and you would have another
Exactly.
opportunity in that
To clear things
incarnation
up.
to correct
Yeah.
all the shortcomings from the last
Yeah.
incarnation. Now
Exactly.
it's said from my research, it's seven, you come back every seventh generation.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
Even that is said of Aaron Miller too, that he was here in seven different
Yeah, seven
incarnations.
incarnations. Mm.
Okay. And he was able to do things in each one that brought him to where he was. All right.
Mm.
So that's so much for that. I don't know if anyone of you all want to talk again on the
All right.
reincarnation issue.
All right.
And well,
Oh.
that's what you said was actually clear. You know,
Mm.
what you said was clear. We need to remember that whatever we do has a direct effect, not just here, but where we came from. It has a direct effect. And, you know, as Odu may say, taboos and particular colors and all these various things. And these things will come up in your reading. Don't wear black, don't wear red, you know, you mustn't eat okra, you mustn't eat that. Well, the difference with what we have and what other religions possess. Other religions make promises. If you follow me, you will end up in milk and honey, some nice sweet bread in a corner, or you may end up with 72 wives and a big palace. We don't make that type of advertisement. You know, we don't
All
have that kind of advertisement.
I think one of the viewers have a question there. I don't know if
All right.
one of you barbers want to
Well,
address it.
all right, well, remember you was talking about dreams, so we had moved on. But all right, just as this conversation here, we at a different level now. Otherwise, we'd be under a mango tree, drinking some palm wine or some punching, and having the same conversation. But we evolving. Now, in terms of dream, just as Baba Tunde has said, that was our connection. We tried, okay, a dream is your etheric experience in another world at that point in time where you call the sleep zone. You are alive. You are existing because you are spirit being. The spirit now is traveling in another, either travel in the past, present, or future. So most time, even with the ancestors, how do we consult the ancestors? Before we were studying Opalian Ekin divination, we would have Chobi or would have come in our dream. The ancestor would have whispered in your ears. So is the answer. Or your dream, you see you're going somewhere, and then the next day, either you follow dream and you realize, hey, let me walk so. Because that when I get up and go, it's just because something in my dream, I dream something. So when I get up in the morning, I just change and go. And then I will get the experience that I'm supposed to experience. When people doubt their dream, you doubt your divination, you doubt your ancestral connection, you doubt the message of Orisha. You'll ever be what Baba said, a perpetual seeker, always trying to find that. But you are already a spirit being, having this earthly experience, and
Baba,
all the spirits connect to you.
Baba, you see, the problem is, I believe, it's just my personal opinion. The problem is a lot of times the teachings that people get.
And this is what we're speaking about now. Our teachers supposed to now let people know the road you want to follow when you say you're coming into Ifa, Orisha, or just into spirituality. You want to be a priest? Okay, no problem. It have a role for that. You want to be a priest, you can't tell another person who's still following Ifa, that no, you can't do that. No, hello.
All right. Well, Baba, it
Use,
seemed like you're introducing the next tenant. The next
yeah,
tenant
no, well,
says,
I'm going there because
I know that divination is the roadmap. So that's the next topic.
now divination, divine connection. It don't always mean that it had to be going to a Babalawo. Right? Divination means connection, getting oral readings from the the oracles. It's not taking away and telling people follow tarot card and follow this and the pendulum and all of that, you know, but it's saying whatever is the cultural system of communications with the divine, that is it. But also, if we go into the next tenant, we can have communication with Olodomare through chance possession. So even beyond,
but then, Baba, you want to, you know, you're songing almost as if to say that when a Baba is performing Dapa, that he doesn't go into trance, because that is part of it too.
No.
That is part of
well,
it.
like different house. Now you remember,
No, but you're
different
making it
regions
sound like if that ain't part
teach
of it
different
too.
things. Because when if I'm doing a divination, even before I start, I just tell people I will be talking nonsense, and they say, "Well, Baba, hey, you're minding my business." I say, "No, I can't see." But I'm just talking, but I'm talking the answer to a problem, and then when they say, "Okay," if I say, "Okay," why don't give me the answer?
Yeah, but part of the invocation is the spirit of Ila, Baba.
All right, remember Ela, spirit of manifestation.
Right.
How do Ela manifest? Through the experience that are there present before we are. Not only on the divination border. Ela is the Ela Ori. Remember your Ori also has a manifestation of Ela.
I am aware, Baba.
So there is a connection. But now, remember now, we're dealing with religion versus spirituality. So when I term spirituality, I'm trying to say, how do we as a spirit being, an immortal being that is in this mortal flesh, can live in this world and still elevate at the level of consciousness compared to one who wants to follow the religious pathway without having conflict for the religious one who want to be a babalawo and a high priest and a this and a title, to tell the one who just live in the same way, you're wrong and you have to follow this way, we can live in harmony. So religion and spirituality not supposed to be...
Baba, you go confuse yourself if you try to mix religion too much with spirituality and tradition. Hold on, because I'm listening to you, and you're talking about people wanting to be particular things. But here we're talking about, in particular, the idea that going to Ifa, doing your initiations, would give you your roadmap. So it ain't nothing about being confused about anything.
Thank you. Because when I would have done my initiation, I saw Odu. I did my full initiation. And I thought, well, priesthood is not on my path. What I chose wealth. Well, I ain't had the wealth in money, but I had the wealth in intelligence, I had the wealth in character, I had the wealth in other things, right? But
wealth is not only money, Baba.
No, that's it. My wealth is in intelligence and other things. But there are those who say, what Ifa is directing me to do? Oh, no, I should not do that. I have to follow this way and that way. But when the way they are saying, it is according to the religious way. Right? And not the spiritual way. So it's not how do we still bring harmony, but everybody could be on their pathway without having to interact or have a problem with somebody else's pathway.
Again, I'm telling you, you can't confuse a whole bunch of things, because if divination is the roadmap and we're talking about Ifa, you may go and sit on a mat and they might tell you, yeah, what, you can't be no Ifa Orisha devotee, you had to be a Muslim. Or they might tell you had to be some kind of other thing.
Well, unfollowed. Remember, Ifa is the word of God. So if they say you have to be a Muslim, follow it. There's an experience that you have to experience in that road. Wherever direction one is going, there's a purpose for it to go in that direction. Today, one of my devotees asked a question in a situation where she had to basically go in a different direction to the traditional way. I said, what's your purpose? Your purpose is to teach. Go and teach. You ain't leaving your spirituality. You ain't leaving the Orishas, but you cannot go and catch spirit in the people's school. But you're going now to connect with the Ori of the children that is to connect with you.
All right,
Connect with
well,
people that is to learn from you.
I agree with you,
Right?
Baba, but I'm saying we don't want the confusion, because to me, if we're talking about Ifa being specifically the roadmap, it's two things we have to talk about, which is two forms of initiation. That's the one at birth,
Mhm.
right? And then there would be the initiation for those of us who are not so fortunate to be born into the tradition, that we have to initiate in order to be able to
All right.
find out what is our governing order.
All right. And this
So,
all right, and this is why it is important that we have to structure how we educate. Because education is really an important thing. Eh? How do we educate our people? That's why I said is Ika Torpon can work for initiate. It also could work first and non-initiate. The principles is about how do we walk on a balanced life. So once we educate people would come in droves. If we were really educated people in Ifa, if people would be running to us in droves.
well, Baba,
We had these people like us get to follow Ifa guidance as people who is Orisha Baptist and all that. A stranger, well, what is this? I say, well, so. Well, Ifa, and what is Ifa? Wow, that sounds interesting. How can I get more information? Okay, call me. And sometimes 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, still explaining, and they have questions. And people are excited.
Baba,
Right?
well, Baba, I want to know.
Yeah.
Then,
We know that Ifa divination is the roadmap for every person. We know about the Isentaye, we know about the Hand of Ifa, we know about the full Ifa initiation. Tell us the role that it would play, and tell us specifically what forms of initiation, from the birth initiation to full Ifa initiation, how these things guide a person along the way.
very good question. Very, very good question. We all aware that we are just as important as our fingerprint. Nothing is the same. You know, there's no two fingerprints that are alike. And from birth, I mean, and this is something that happened in Trinidad and Tobago as well. You know, the elders used to call it offering up. They will offer you up, and they will find the correct Orisha that you are connected to. Maybe Oshun, Yamonja. Initiation helps groom the character of the individual. It helps with the grooming of the character of the individual, because, as again, all religious orders have a form. Even Hinduism, Buddhism, they have particular things that they will do with a child to help, not to control, but to allow that child to be the best that that child could be. And that is the purpose of all forms of initiations. What could be an addition, you know, in some cases, if I may say, this person needs to do their initiation because death is around the corner, you know, and this is the only way out. Who knows, if we had this before, a lot of people who go on might have been alive. You know, we have particular I don't even want to use the word spiritual, because I think even the word spiritual is still too
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Right?
That's really what they're using.
For us. You know, I think our universal vibrations, in order for us to really connect, we must know our purpose. Why we are here. What is the reason at a particular age I was sick? And why sickness don't interfere with me now? And this happened before I even initiate. Did I have to go through that? Yes, but through Ifa, you will know what is the reason. And having your roadmap for this existence, one will realize that I am just being the best that I could be. You know, I am becoming the best that I could be. And that is the sole purpose of initiation. Initiation is not, yes, through initiation, you may find out that I was a priest and I'm supposed to be a priest. I was a priest before and I'm supposed to be a priest now. Through divination, through initiation, you may find out that maybe I was a doctor before and I need to stay close to our sign because I need to be a herbalist. So it helps to carve your road upon a year by knowing this is my purpose here.
All right, one of the viewers on the stream is asking, it have some persons that Ifa says are not to be initiated in the tradition. But if the person still wants to follow the order, what would the Babas advise? What would be the advice to such a person?
Strange enough, you know, somebody asked me a question like that a few weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. And Ifa is for the world. Ifa is for the world. You know, so for Ifa to say that this person cannot be initiated into Ifa, that's a strange thing though, because I mean, I am sure that Kabiesi, Shongo, Olokuso was also initiated to Shongo to Ifa. Exactly. You know, yeah. I have seen where Ifa said this person could just do the hand of Ifa and go ahead and do the full Shango initiation and whatever, and they can stop right there. They don't need to go any further.
Yeah, right? but to me, Baba, for the person to be told that they probably was being initiated at that point in time.
Well,
I can't figure out if a person have a concern and they go for a reading, that's going to come up.
That's going
to address the direct problem that the person went for. But anyway.
But this is why it is important for education. Because
so let me move on to the next tenant. But I just thought it was an amusing question.
I just want to say, in terms of when people are properly educated, you understand, they would have understanding. Initiation has nothing to do with practice anyway. Initiation means finding your alignment, your personal voice, your pathway. You have to
What's your pathway?
You can compress, you don't want to compress. You can follow the way, you don't have to follow the way. You have your manual to how you supposed to live and how you will excel to be your perfect you.
Exactly. And that's it. That's basically what it is.
Not about joining.
Yeah. No, we've been on almost an hour and a half. It's going to be your call. Is either we're going to either continue this show, or if you want, we could run. We could do the 2 shows and edit it, split it down.
No, well, we could continue, but we could go out 10-15 minutes. But I'm saying the importance.
But the problem is that I can't stay on much longer.
Yeah. That's what I say about our Tundian member. The importance is not about just coming to worship. Apply Ifa into your life. Apply the principles. Your way may not be my way, and my way may not be our Tunde way, but each will be still following Ifa according to their way. My Odu says this, his Odu says that, your Odu says such, and we live according, but you see how we can still live in harmony.
All right.
You know, different
diversity.
So
and
it's just a simple thing that I say, you know, education, information, inspiration.
Inspiration. Ashe?
You know, we need to educate. We need to let somebody know. And you see another thing that interferes with us as a people. You know, if somebody cannot do something, please tell them they cannot do it. It is not for you. It is not for you. This is not what you like in the first place. But what has been happening throughout the years, I should say not even throughout the years, I think from the 90s, the late 90s now, people not seeing the importance of other things. Everybody wants to become a priest. And that is not as important as everybody finding what they need to do.
And that is what we're looking at. That is exactly what we need to get.
It makes no sense if we have 1,000 priests. Now think about it, right? We have 1,000 priests in Trinidad. but we only have about 5,000 people. What sense does it make? It doesn't make any sense.
And the 5,000 training to be priests.
And 5,000 training to be priests. It doesn't make any sense. It's not in your part.
I want to read one more tenant and then one more tenant, and we're going to close after that. All right, this one says, I know the use of offering and blood sacrifices are for atonement and elevation of our prayers to Orisha and to Ego.
All right. And that is important. Both is a religious part, also it can be a traditional part. A lot of people have to atone
I don't think
within their own self.
Baba Iwalewa, I disagree. I disagree with the fact that that's a religious part. That has nothing to do with religion.
No,
that has nothing to do with religion.
Where you need to go to some people has not elevated.
I don't want to be too controversial.
Yeah.
But there are some people who say they don't believe in sacrifice. But yet the entire religion is based on a sacrifice.
It's sacrifice.
Right? And I ain't being controversial. I just reciting the facts.
Yeah.
You cannot say that you don't believe in sacrifice, but yet your whole religion is predicated on a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And in this case of a human being.
Exactly.
Which we don't do. And which is outlawed, and the rules of Ifa is strictly against human sacrifices.
Right.
Strictly against it.
Against it.
Strictly against it. But they're killing the Jesus every Sunday. No,
every
my thing is this. Why I can't watch sacrifice as a religious thing? It is because it is not a religious thing. It is something that is spiritual. Right? When you make Ebo Shango going with the whole goat, it's just the essence, the vibration.
The essence, the life force essence of it.
But that is spiritual. That is spirituality. Culture teaches us that after it is sacrificed, they will say what to do with it. Feed the people, feed your family, eat, play some songs, play some drums, eat. Because they need, just as you spoke a while ago about Oshun, and she cleanses us inside out. We need to be nourished. We need food. So when you kill the goat, hence the reason why in Ifa we say mouth is the king of Ebo.
Mouth is the king of Ebo.
Mouth is the king of Ebo. So when you kill this animal, if it's not taboo, as long as it is not taboo, whatever you eat, and watch, all right, let's take a look at the Catholic Church. When they kill the Jesus every Sunday, what do they do? They will partake of his flesh, and they will drink his blood.
Drink of his blood. Yeah.
All right. So then, what do we do? That's not a religious thing. That's cannibalism. But what we do, whatever we sacrifice, as they say in our tradition, sacrifice guarantees success. Sacrifice on a minute scale or on a mega scale. You're saving $1 a day. At the end of the year, you're going to have $300 and something.
Yeah.
You made that sacrifice of $1 every day, or $10 or $100 every day. That's how people become billionaires, because they keep making that sacrifice. So when we use the term sacrifice, sacrifice is not limited to just making everyone killing a goat, or eboriru. No, sacrifice is doing what you're supposed to do on a daily basis that contributes to your existence.
Your existence and your well-being.
You may go to Ifa every day. I may not have the time to go to my Ifa every day. That does not mean that you are in a better position than me. Ifa understands that I can't come every day, because I had my personal conversation with my Ifa. And I say, if I would not be able to come every day, but I'll come every other day, would that be enough? Yes. Well, this is what I'm doing. That in itself is a sacrifice.
You're sacrificing your time with Ifa. Yeah.
Everything that we do is sacrificial. But what has been going on for the longest while is that if geographically we are located in Trinidad, and I want it to be real, right? If we are located in Trinidad and Tobago, I don't want nobody to do do dafa for me and tell me how to kill a bison back in Africa, or the tree that you're supposed to put the sacrifice by is only in Africa you can get it. Don't tell me that kind of nonsense. I ain't calling for that. Please do not tell me that. Why?
Yeah.
We pass through the elements continuously on a daily basis. We are continuously going in what direction? East, aren't we?
Yeah.
We are continuing. The sun ain't going away. How we going to say the sun rising? The sun is stable in one spot, but we are continuously cycling through this, the universal forces. Hence the reason why the elders used to say long ago, all the Orishas with you is which one is more stronger. That's a scientific thing. That's a scientific law. If we don't eat, we starve. We start suffering with what they call this thing again when your belly does get big, and malnutrition. So we need to partake. If you have 10 members in your family, and that is how Orumila did it, and that is how our foreparents used to do it long ago, right? You have your 16-day cycle. You ask Ifa say, well, your son's supposed to stay home for 16 days. There was not a next word was going to be asked because it didn't come from the priest. It came from Ifa, and Ifa is the word of Olodumare, right? So if he's supposed to stay home for 16 days, next thing you hear, he drunk. He was supposed to drunk. His partner's drunk, and he was supposed to die too. So now everybody wanted Ifa. Everybody wanted to understand the tenets of Ifa, and that is what we need to do. We need to start teaching people how to connect with their Ifa and how to make their Ifa work for not just their immediate family, but their villages.
Yeah, for the community. All right. Well, Baba Iwaliwa, well, you're gonna close off now.
Yeah. Baba Otunde again, you always, as I said, that is my rabbi, you know. I tell people that is my rabbi. Even if the man ain't wanted, the spirit in the man deserve the title. And this is the love we're supposed to have. Everybody have their space, but the love we're supposed to have, brothers and sisters, that to see everybody can excel in their space, in their region. We assist them, whatever way. But this is what Ifa is about. Ile Ife means the house of unconditional love. I don't have to like Baba Otunde, I don't have to like Ifa Bemio, but as a child of Ifa, we have to have unconditional love. We see them for who they are, accept them, grow.
Yeah.
And this we
can't like each other. We can't like each other. We don't love each other.
We don't love each other. And this is the education which Ifa we supposed to think. You want to learn to do divination, come and pay for a course. You want to learn to initiate, come and pay for a course, no problem. But you can learn the principles, the elements, the essence necessary to pass on to your children. Let the children be start to sing the songs of Ifa, not just sing it over, but understand why I'm singing. Ashe Orisha, Lenumio, there's power in my voice. So I know I must only speak good. Because that power in my mouth, I can speak bad against my own.
Exactly.
So as we continue to strive, we ask people again, like, subscribe, send a message, but let Ifa just be a guide. You don't necessarily have to follow. You don't have to join a temple, but seek the wisdom and allow Ifa to guide. When the time comes, you say, "Nay, I go in and initiate." Nobody have to tell you come and initiate.
Exactly.
You see the purpose and reason why I need to and carry my wife, carry my child, carry everybody, my mother, my grandfather, all who are alive. All of we going by Ifa. Because that is what the right education from us.
I totally agree.
Us. Yes, the Baba Ifa and the Babalawos from the homeland, they could teach us certain things, but the people have to find Ifa from us.
Right.
We understand our condition. We understand. We know our expression.
Baba. So with that, we want to say Odabo, and we will see you all next week.
Odabo.
Ifa Orisha community traditional community discussion. Odabo.
Ashe.
Ashe.